Both Lue Elizondo and Chris Mellon have gone on record conveying they have seen profoundly compelling UFO images. While they didn't explicitly clarify what they thought the release of some of these images would do to our world, it's clear to me that even just one of these images or videos getting released would completely change the UFO conversation overnight. I'm talking about 4K quality evidence, some of which has been attained from satellites. I will provide you with exact quotes, and we will go deep into the implications of this potential reality. 6 years and 10 months ago, Lue Elizondo came onto the scene and told the world he was the head of a UFO study program within the Pentagon, and that it was there that he learned the phenomena is indeed real.
It was in this position I learned that the phenomena is indeed real.
We have progressed so much since that moment in time. We have not done a U-turn since then, nor has our progress imploded. And there is every indication that there are many significant developments that will unfold before the year ends. But this begs the question, when are we going to get to see the high fidelity images or videos of UAP? The ones that will absolutely change the conversation overnight if they are to be released. In the following clip, journalist Leslie Kane explains what she perceives Lue Elizondo's book Imminent has accomplished.
Or what do you think people should walk away with when reading Lue's book?
I mean, I think it's different for everyone because it depends on how much they already know. But I mean, as far as I'm concerned, what's most important about that book is that it reached beyond the UFO community. It reached the general public, which is why I like to write for papers like the New York Times, because they reach an audience that don't know anything about this. I mean, we forget how many people out there, most people don't know anything about it. So I think what's most important about that book is that it reach a broader audience, and that the major themes that people need to understand is about the legacy program and about the fact that our government does possess these crashed objects. And I think those two things, if they could get out into the general public, into the world out there beyond the UFO community, that'll be a huge accomplishment.
Now here's the critical factor. A lot of allegations made about UFO reality are very difficult to swallow. Incredibly difficult to swallow, and understandably so. However, just one good image or video, preferably multiple ones, with proper provenance, would change the conversation overnight in two key ways. Firstly, the world would know this is real. While the Go Fast Gimbal and FLIR 1 videos were important, they were not enough for the world to know this is real. Not real in the way that we need for the world to know it's real. Because ultimately, I don't think this is an unknown that we're dealing with. Actually, I firmly calculate this is a known unknown. Meaning, the US government knows that we're not dealing with human technology, even if they don't have all the answers. Period. End of story. The second key way the conversation would change is that all the other allegations that have been made about these phenomena, including a crash retrieval program and the possession of non-human bodies, would suddenly become plausible even to the biggest skeptic. This is where we need to go if this is all real. We can't keep the disclosure process persisting indefinitely. At some point, all 8 billion of us have to awaken to our place in the universe. My God, I love going on this journey with you.
God have mercy on us all.
Let's go deep into the proposition that the US government and its contractors has reams of high fidelity proof that we are not alone and we are being engaged by non-human intelligence, which, by the way, is the analysis that I have. I think that's highly likely. And I think that will come out in the coming years. Now, in the following clip, Lue Elizondo was on the Jesse Waters primetime show on Fox News, and he goes into the government having multiple UFO programs.
People always say, well, what proof do you have? And what would you say?
Sure. Well, it's not what proof I have. It's what proof the United States government has and has had for quite some time. I think people would be shocked to know that the U.S. government has had many UFO or UAP, now we call them, programs in the past and continue to have. And it's only been recently, I think, because of the veil of stigma and taboo is beginning to decrease, that elements within the U.S. government are now actually coming forward and having the conversation with Congress, with the executive branch, and the American people.
You may have noticed that Lou said that the U.S. government has had many UFO programs in the past and continues to have them. So he's not just referring to Project Blue Book and those types of programs that were in the public domain. He's clearly talking about secret programs because he said that they still persist to this day. He also said that the U.S. government has had proof for quite some time. So the question is, what does that proof constitute? And we'll get further into that. So unfortunately, as it stands right now, we have tens of thousands of witnesses all over the world that say they have seen UAP unambiguously. Obviously, most sightings are misidentifications, but some people claim they've had such unambiguous sightings that they're either lying, hallucinated, or told the truth. I think within that pile, some of them are absolutely telling the truth and had truly unambiguous sightings. And we have many people from the military saying that the U.S. government has high fidelity data proving the existence of this phenomena. But unfortunately, there's nothing in the public domain that could change the conversation right now. So that's kind of what we're awaiting. Now, interestingly, yesterday on the Bill Maher show, someone of high stature and credibility and credentials spoke very soberly about the UFO issue. And we can add this to the chorus of people coming out of the government who have spoken about this topic as if it's real and not just misidentifications or foreign drones. So I'll share a tweet by Marek von Rennenkampf. He wrote, speaking about this person's appearance on the Bill Maher show, there are things, this is the quote from Lieutenant General Herbert Raymond McMaster, and he was a 3-star general. Let's read that tweet. There are things that cannot be explained. There are phenomena that have been witnessed by multiple people that are just inexplicable by the science available to us. That's his quote. Ex-National Security Advisor, Lieutenant General retired H.R. McMaster, September 6, 2024. It aired, 3-star general. Now, in my opinion, there's basically two ways to look at this. One way to look at this is he's just giving his opinion based upon public domain information that has come out. Another way to look at this is he's been privy to classified information that has emboldened him to talk seriously about this issue the way that he did. I think it's the latter. Obviously, he didn't say, well, during the course of my career, I saw classified data which demonstrates that this phenomena is absolutely real and does not align with our understanding of science. He did not say that. But I just don't personally think he would say, quote unquote, there are things that cannot be explained, that are phenomena that have been witnessed by multiple people that are just inexplicable by the science available to us, unless he had his own personal interaction with data that he was privy to within the course of his career. So I do think it's a huge deal that this ex 3-star general said what he said. And I think it's a big deal on multiple levels. It's a big deal because a retired lieutenant general stated these things, but it's also a big deal because there's strength in numbers. And what he said, I think, will contribute to other people coming out, in the sense that other people will find the courage to start having this conversation with the American public. Not because they're LARPers or because there's a quote-unquote cult in the Pentagon, but because there are people in our government who have been privy to this information and know that it's real. And they see the conversation starting to shift, and they may be emboldened to start talking about the unclassified aspect of it. There is a part of me that hopes that my perspective on the UFO issue is wrong. There's a part of me that would be relieved if I found out that it was just some big misunderstanding. It was people misinterpreting things, and this has been going on for decades as a result of human proclivity to error. There is a part of me that would absolutely be relieved if that was the case. And I guess the reason for that is because I've researched this topic so much, involved myself in this topic so much, and I just feel like the degree of madness to keep 8 billion human beings out of the loop in regards to their place in the universe is just, it's so troublesome to me on a psychological and spiritual level. Now, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying all of me hopes I'm wrong. I'm saying there's a very distinct and sincere part of me that would be totally okay if I was wrong. Now, in the next clip, we're going to share actually a clip that I think will likely end up in James Fox's upcoming film, The Program, which according to James should drop in less than 2 months, literally. And his trailer should drop within a few days. In this tweet from July 31st, 2023, he wrote, talking about Chris Mellon talking about photographic UFO UAP evidence that has yet to be released. This is what Congress needs to obtain and share with us: UAP evidence, UFO photos. And absolutely, if this is real, then this is exactly what Congress needs to share with us. As Leslie Kane said in James Iandoli's interview, she said something to the, well, this is a very good paraphrase, that the major theme to take away from Lue's book is that people need to understand that the legacy program and the fact that the government does possess crashed objects is true. She also said, we forget how many people out there, most people don't know anything about this topic. They assume that it's all fake and it's all just people who think they saw something but haven't. But yet, what if it's deeper than that? What if the U.S. government has actually collected alien artifacts and monitors alien craft in our atmosphere through satellites and other technologies? I guess the point is that if we, the public, were exposed to some of this high fidelity data that allegedly is within the possession of the U.S. government, then we would start very sincerely and justifiably, logically, plausibly, if you will, exploring the prospect that it's not just data in the air and in the oceans and potentially in near Earth orbit that we have collected of these UAP, these non-human craft, but that we have also collected the physical specimens as a result of various situations. Now let's get to that clip right now that's likely to be in James Fox's upcoming film, The Program. Pay close attention to the subtitles so that you get it in all its accuracy.
And you've seen some pretty compelling photographic evidence.
And I've seen some very compelling evidence. Evidence that I very much wish was in the public domain. When I'm talking to the scientists at the Galileo Project, for example, and at the Scientific Coalition for UAP Studies. I so wish that they were privy to this information, and the public was privy to this information.
What happened when you looked at those photographs? Come on. Put me there.
Well, it's like,
I want to be you for a minute.
it's like, wow, you know, like, I can't think of any way to explain this other than, you know, I mean, this is not something in our inventory, I'm pretty sure.
In April of 2023, James Fox was on the Joe Rogan Experience, and he went deeper into what he's heard from Chris Mellon about UFO photos beyond the clip that I just shared you. So to give context to the clip that I just showed you that will very likely be in his upcoming film, The Program, I'm going to read you the transcript because it's absolutely essential and gives greater context. I will read this as clearly as I can, but pay close attention. James Fox said to Joe Rogan, "Chris Mellon just met with me in DC, and he's now told me that there is satellite data. And the only reason why he talked about it is because Ratcliffe mentioned it."
Pilots or have been picked up by satellite imagery.
So he's like, well, Ratcliffe mentioned it, so I'll mention the fact that Ratcliffe mentioned it. It's satellite data. And I was like, how good are the photographs? I want to know so bad. You know me, like, come on, I've been looking at this for 30 years. Yeah, how good are the photographs? Chris Mellon goes, James, 4K. Just think about as good as you can imagine of craft. And to know that. And I spoke to 5 other people, that is, James Fox spoke to 5 other people that are part of the program or had the top secret clearances to access to this. And they all confirmed. And it's like, they're just on the other side of the curtain. Could someone just get those out here, please? Please? So, according to James Fox, Chris Mellon has seen satellite imagery, photos, 4K, as good as you can imagine of UFOs. Now imagine one of those being released and how that would change the conversation. And James Fox said he also confirmed that with 5 other people that would be that had the clearances to have access to that kind of thing. That's significant. No matter how you slice it, that's significant. And here's another part of the discussion that was just right after this. So Joe Rogan says to James, do you think we're closer than ever to those things being leaked? And then James Fox responds, I think that if we keep the pressure on, I think it's very important. One of the things that concerns me a little bit is that sometimes they could leak something that looks amazing, right? And then you put your fingerprints all over it and you send it out to the ether, and then it's proven gets debunked, right? So it gets debunked. So you got to be kind of careful if you don't know provenance. So James there was saying like he's concerned that something could get leaked intentionally, that looks compelling but actually is not compelling, in order that it gets debunked to help to diminish the topic in the eyes of the populace. Either way, the takeaway from this exchange with James Fox and Joe Rogan is that Chris Mellon, according to James Fox, according to a conversation he had with Chris Mellon said that he has seen the most profoundly compelling satellite imagery of UFOs you could imagine. I don't know if satellite imagery will ever get released to the public because it deals with such sensitive technology. However, high fidelity gun camera footage absolutely should be released to the public. The Department of Defense has released high fidelity gun camera footage of foreign drones and aircraft, so why not UAP? There's no national security reason not to do so, and this is getting ridiculous. So now I'm going to share with you a quote from Lue Elizondo, when he was on the Joe Rogan Experience. And in this quote, he gets into gun camera footage and how high of quality the gun camera footage the U.S. government has of UFOs. Let's get right into that quote. And I quote, listen carefully. I think part of the challenge is that most people here in this country, they're familiar with the 3 videos, right? That have been famously released by the Pentagon. Go Fast, Gimbal, FLIR. But those are the least compelling of all the videos that the government has. Those were unclassified. And so those were kind of the low-hanging fruit that could be released to the general public. There's stuff out there that's like 4K ultra high definition, right? So when you see something like that from a certain military platform or a certain military equity or an intelligence collection platform, you have to look at that and say, well, what? What is that? What the hell is that? More importantly, that data is being backed up by radar data, right? So you've got electro-optical data like gun camera footage or pod or FLIR video. And then you've got radar data that is actually confirming what the video is picking up. And then you've got eyewitnesses who are also watching it, right? So you've got trained observers, pilots that can recognize the silhouette between an Su-22 and a MiG-25 from 20 miles away and make a split-second decision. Is it friend or foe? Do I kill it or do I let it live? And they're reporting it. So you have 3 separate, if you will, collection platforms. The human eye being one of them. You've got gun camera footage and you've got radar footage, all describing the same event at the same place at the same time under the same circumstances, right? And so keep in mind, with my background as a former special agent in counterintelligence, if this was in front of a jury, as I said before, I think we're well beyond reasonable doubt. That's something there. I mean, that is real. That's not an atmospheric aberration. It's not a anomaly. That is something there. It's tangible, end quote. So the idea that the U.S. government has gun camera video, ultra clear, ultra unambiguous, showing technologies that are not utilizing known technology, they're of unknown origin, and they're keeping this in their vaults or drawers or classified systems and not informing the rest of the world that there's something out there that represents an extraordinary mystery. It's just completely unethical. Completely and utterly unethical, in my opinion. It's one thing to classify something so that you don't give a direct advantage to adversaries. It's a completely different thing to classify something that would introduce 8 billion of us to another side of our universe that currently we're unaware of. That is wrong. Classifying facts about God's creation is wrong. It hampers human progress. It keeps our heads in the sand. And obviously, something as dramatic and extraordinary as being engaged by non-human intelligence is going to enter the realm of public policy. But all of that policy has been kept away from the public. We don't get to vote on how the U.S. government deals with this reality. So it's just not democratic at all, the way the U.S. government has handled this situation. Here's another quote from the interview on Joe Rogan's podcast with Lue Elizondo. And I quote, "And it's lots and lots and lots of videos. People think that there's only 3 videos. Those don't even scratch the surface. There are hundreds and hundreds of videos that the intelligence community and the Department of Defense have on these things." And recall, end quote. And recall, he said that the Go Fast, Gimbal, and FLIR video are some of the least compelling. That he said that there are 4K unambiguous videos. So we're really not getting an accurate depiction of what we're dealing with. And that's important to keep in mind as I continue with something else Lue Elizondo said from the Joe Rogan Experience, and I quote, "Colleagues of mine like Chris Mellon, who have been very, very active in this topic and have actually been responsible for a lot of what we see now happening in Congress, has been championing that. He is the one who says, look, we need more videos to come out so the American people can see for themselves what we've been dealing with." So My understanding is that a lot of these videos are made classified not because of sources and methods or that it would compromise national security, but because they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed in a sense because they've been lying to the public about this phenomena for a very long time, and they don't want to release any videos that would make it obvious that they have not been honest with the American public and with Congress. So they're putting things under classification for all the wrong reasons. I'll close this video with a tweet that I made on September 8th. Had former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe never broached satellite imagery of UFOs, Chris Mellon would likely have kept quiet about the satellite UFO images he's seen. There is strength in numbers. The more people who come forward, the more people who will come forward later. Thank you, Lieutenant General retired H.R. McMaster, for speaking candidly about these phenomena. The American public and indeed the world needs to discuss their place in the universe. Ignorance is not the answer. It is detrimental to human growth, and after all, facts about the nature of God's creation should not be classified. So strength in numbers is a theme that you will probably notice in many of my videos. I anticipate that with the upcoming documentaries, the upcoming open UFO hearing that is supposed to happen before the year ends, and the coup de grace individual, as it were, that Matthew Pine spoke about, that someone very big who's been in the news, we would know who he is if we saw him, is going to come forward before the year ends to back up the allegations of David Grush. That's what Matthew Pine said. He said it would be the coup de grace, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Even though there's not much time left in the year 2024, there's still a lot that is slated to happen in 2024. And it is my perspective that as these new documentaries come out, as new people come forward to talk soberly and factually about the UFO phenomena, and we get new hearings and all of this continues to unfold, more and more people will feel emboldened to speak up about this topic and go against the culture of secrecy that has been so established within the U.S. government. There's a lot of things people can say without breaking their NDAs. As you know, and as the stigma diminishes and they see their colleagues coming forward, they're going to feel emboldened to do so as well. Now, this is the opposite of my opinion of what you would expect if there was no truth to this. And I just find it strange credulity to keep going with the idea that there's this endless cult in the Pentagon that has no end. And so instead of seeing all these people coming forward and saying, hey, maybe there's something to this, even if it's a low probability, some people are just going to say, oh, the cult in the Pentagon is larger than we anticipated. That to me, you know, it's easy to overplay your hands. It's easy to overplay your hand with that perspective, in my opinion. I mean, look, I'm not saying people shouldn't be skeptical, but at a certain point, you know, you kind of have to become more open-minded to the possibility that the government has been lying about UFOs all along, and that they do have high-fidelity data establishing that we are not alone in the universe. And so this is kind of, you know, why David Grush came out. And in this following clip, when he was on the Tucker Carlson show, he underscores what has to be accomplished for us to heal from all the lies and obfuscation that we've been on the other end of for a very long time.
It's time to reconcile this. We need to heal from this. You know, we need to disclose the basics, the fact that we're not alone. We've recovered material and we've recovered the occupants. And beyond that, you know, the president can decide what should be disclosed. It's above my pay grade, but the basics should be acknowledged. And I think it's a more ontologically shocking, but also uniting thing in an era of divisiveness.
So there you have it. It's not just about radar collection and satellite imagery collection and gun camera video collection, but apparently we also have collected the craft that have either been shot down or crashed or landed and then abandoned, and biological remains as well of non-human intelligence. And so the layers of proof it appears that the U.S. government has in its possession is going to be a very difficult pill for many to swallow, especially those people who said there's no way this could be. There's no way they could cover this up. There's no way they could keep it secret. Well, I don't know. Maybe there was a way. Maybe because it's so easy to disbelieve this, it kind of gave them a kind of cover and made it much easier to keep it insulated. I don't know. It does seem counterintuitive that they were able to cover this up for so long, if they have, which I think they have. Although the cover-up has not been perfect because people have been coming out for decades saying that they're lying to the public. But the cover-up has been successful in the sense that no smoking gun evidence has leaked ever. And we'll leave it at that. Please do not forget to subscribe. I've been uploading a lot, haven't I? I appreciate your support. If you'd like to support this channel, you can check out my merch shop where I sell t-shirts. You could become a patron. You can become a YouTube member. You can give me a one-time donation. Or you can just slap a like on this bad boy, and I'll appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Special thanks to all patrons, YouTube members, those that have bought merch, those that have given me a one-time donation. I couldn't do without you. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.